going into Sankhya, I will just roughly go through the 6 schools of philosophy. Okay, that's why I've named it as Bharatiya Shadadarshan. And from that Bharatiya Shadadarshan, one is Sankhya. So we'll go like that. Okay, Bharatiya matlab Indian, Shadadarshan, the Shad means 6, and Darshanas means to see. Okay? To see what? To see the truth or to see the tattva, real tattva behind everything in this universe. So that's how our Shadadarshanas help us to see the reality in this world. Okay? So, so before understanding even that Shadadarshana, Sankhya is one of the Shadadarshana. So before understanding, let us quickly go through the classification. Okay, how classification of darshana is of two types. First is astik and the second is नास्तिक. Now normally आस्तिक मतलब हम समझते हैं जो भगवान के ऊपर विश्वास रखते हैं वो आस्तिक है और जो भगवान के ऊपर विश्वास नहीं रखते हैं वो नास्तिक है. But it is not like that. Okay, Astik means it accepts Vedas as a true source of knowledge, whereas Nastik they do not accept Vedas as a source of knowledge. Okay, now the classical example of Astika is a Shad Darshan, the darshanas which we are going to learn now, out of which we are going to concentrate only on Sankhya. Okay. Now what the Nastik is, they do not accept Vedas as the source of knowledge. जो Vedas के वाक्य में believe नहीं करते हैं. So what are those three? Buddhism, Jainism and Charvak. Okay, this Buddhism also does not believe in Atma, although it believes that this world is full of pain and miseries. Okay, and there is a way to come out of it. It believes in everything, but they do not believe in Atma. Jainism also likewise. Okay, it also has true knowledge, but it does not accept Veda as the authority. They also have something called as Kevala Gyan. Okay, they do have that, but they do not accept Vedas as the authority. Now, last is Charvaka. Now, what is this Charvaka? It is full of materialistic philosophy. In fact, the uh, philosophers don't accept it as a darshana at all. Because what does it believe? It does not believe in Vedas. But then what does it believe? It believes only in eat, drink, make merry and die. Okay. If you go and tell them, ये आत्मा है, आत्मा आंखों को नहीं दिखता है, they will not believe. Then if you say आत्मा, they will ask you, show me where it is. अगर आत्मा है तो आप दिखाओ कहाँ है. अगर नहीं है तो it is not there. Like that. They believe like that. Even they are so clever and intelligent, they will study the Upanishads, but they'll conveniently remove some phrases. छोटे छोटे फ्रेज आधा निकाल के फिर उसमें बोलेंगे अरे श्वेता श्वतर उपनिषद में ऐसा दिया है वैसा दिया है like that. They keep arguing. And so that's why mostly our philosophers, they don't take it as a philosophy, but it is there as a part of this Nastika system. Okay. Now, again, let us see the classification of literatures. Now, this classification of literatures, they are of two types. Okay. One is Shruti and the other one is Smriti. Shruti and Smriti. Now, Shruti means to listen. Okay, to listen and to absorb. Listen and absorb. That is called Shruti. So there's a difference between listening and hearing. In listening, you actually listen and then absorb. Now under this, क्या examples क्या है? Vedas, Upanishads and Agamas. Now why this Vedas called as a Shruti? Because ये Vedas कहीं किसी ने लिखा नहीं है. Nobody has written down the Vedas. Okay, the Vedas already existed since time immemorial. It was already there. Even before this world came into existence, the Vedas were there in the universe. And our sages and munis, they sat, they meditated with that frequency which is equal to Vedas, and they absorbed it and then they passed it on to us. Okay. And Upanishads. Upanishads, another name is called Vedanta. ये वेदा के जो अंत में आते हैं उसको उपनिषद बोलते हैं. ओके, ये उपनिषद भी ऐसे ही किसी का लिखा हुआ नहीं है. It was already existing and great people like Adi Shankaracharya, they gave us commentaries. Like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, they all gave us the commentaries on Upanishads. Okay. Now Agamas, this Agamas is a kind of a tradition. It is unwritten. It has been coming from right from the beginning, and we do not know who has started. For example, Kailash. Kailash is the closest to the earth, and that is Shaiva tradition. So we don't know who has started, but all we know is in Shaivism, we have to do worship like this, or we have to do fasting. उपवास ऐसे करना है, ऐसे दिया है. But none of us know who has written it, but all of us are still following that tradition because it is parampara se chali aa rahi. Now smriti means not only remember, not only memory, again you remember and absorb the whole concept inside. So that is called smriti. Now here comes our topic. Okay, the classic example of smriti is Shad Darshanas. Okay. In that Shad Darshanas, there are 6 schools of philosophy, 6 darshanas. One is Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, out of which we are going to deal with only Sankhya, only with Sankhya. Okay. Now Puranas. These Puranas are also Smriti. And why they are called Smriti? Because these literature have been written down. Okay. How they have been written down? Okay. Now this Shad Darshanas is an example of Astika. Correct? That means they believe in Vedas. So all these gurus, sages, munis, they have collected all the knowledge, all the concepts from different Vedas and Upanishads, and those concepts they have systematically arranged and they have given us. Okay? That is why it is called, it comes under Smriti. They have been written down. The knowledge from the Vedas have been taken, Upanishads have been taken, and they have been systematically written down for us to study. Okay? So that is why it is called Smriti. So all these comes under Smriti. Puranas. Okay? There are around 18 Puranas. The biggest one is Bhagavad Purana. Okay? So all these, in these Puranas, you have different what you call stories of God. Okay, his different leelas, they have been put in the form of stories so that it is easy even for a layman to understand about our philosophy. Okay, everybody cannot study Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga. So there are a group of people who understand by stories. Okay? So all these concepts and philosophy has been put in the form of stories in Puranas. Okay, now each of the Vedas, okay, they have been divided into 4 sections. Okay, and these 4 sections, they are called, first section is called Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. Okay? Now, in the first section, Samhita, it is a collection of all the mantras. Okay, here all different mantras will be there in the first section. And in the second section, it's called Brahmanas. It is full of rituals and prayers. Okay, rituals and prayers means suppose if you want a child, then you do this. ये फलाना फलाना हवन आपको करना है. अगर बैटल में जीतना है, वॉर में जीतना है, फिर आपको ये फलाना फलाना हवन करना है. So all that is very clearly mentioned in the Brahmanas. It is done in the form of action, so it is called Karma Marga. Now the second one is Aranyaka. Okay, Aranyaka, it is actually extension of these Brahmanas, extension of Brahmanas. Okay, so it is called Jnana Yoga. Why it is called Jnana Yoga? here, what happens? See, we have brahmacharya, grihastha, and vanaprastha, okay, and sannyasa. So during vanaprastha time, what happens? The couple, after fulfilling all their responsibility, they go to the aranyaka. Aranyaka means forest, jungle. They sit there and contemplate on the final truth, the universal truth. And then what happens in those days, in those forests and all, in jungle, there will be many ashramas. So they go to one of the gurus and they learn all these concepts. Okay. Now the last section is Upanishad. Now this Upanishad, okay, which is also called as Vedanta, it deals with all the philosophical dispositions, philosophical questions. मैं कौन हूँ, मैं कहाँ से आया हूँ, और मुझे अभी क्या करना है और कहाँ जाना है. So all such questions, okay, will be answered through these Upanishads. Here in Upanishads, what happens? Although it has been written, the disciple, okay, वो जो शिष्य होते हैं, वो गुरु के पास बैठ के knowledge लेते हैं. कैसे knowledge लेते हैं? In the form of question and answer, in the form of discussion. The Shishya keeps asking the questions and the Guru clears all his doubts, okay, regarding their the philosophical questions. Where have I come from? Where am I going? Now again, each of these Vedas are also divided into 6 Vedangas. Okay? 6 Vedangas, they are 6 Angas. For example, the 6 Angas, first of them being Vyakarna. Vyakarna means grammar. Okay. Now, each of the Vedanga has got a certain set of rules. In Sanskrit grammar, what happens is every word, okay, every word, how the sentences can be made, okay, for every sentence. So that is Vyakarna. This is one of the oldest languages. Okay. Now, Shiksha. Shiksha is phonetics. Phonetics is how the word has to be pronounced, how the word has to be told. Like for example, in English, I can say if CAT is cat, then the phonetics will be cat, like that. Okay. This also sounds from Hindi. The sound which we are saying also sounds from Hindi and Sanskrit. So this is like, so phonetics is that, Siksha. Now, Chandas. Chandas is meter. Now, every poem, every verse has got a certain meter. Now, for example, you can take any English poem, like William Wordsworth has said, what is this life full of cares? There is no time to stand and stare. Now, care and stare, वो एक ही sound पे end होता है. So, like that, in this chandas, that is meter, okay, every Sanskrit word, verse has got a certain meter. For example, the most famous being Gayatri Chandaha. Mostly all these Sahasranama, they use this Chanda, Gayatri Chandaha, where every line is divided into 2 equal parts. Okay, every line will be divided into 2 equal parts, and you can pause there after that. Okay. Now, Nirukta, this etymology. Okay, etymology means every word in Sanskrit has got a root word. Just classical example is, for example, yoga. Yoga is derived from the root word yujja. Yujja means to join, right? So like that, every word in Sanskrit has got some root word. Okay. Now, Jyotish, astronomy. So in those times, although there were no, sophisticated equipments, those days, there were no sophisticated telescopes and equipments, but still, with their knowledge, Vedic knowledge, okay, they could sit and meditate by looking at the position of the sun. Okay, they used to decide the place, the degrees of all the planets. Even today, it is true. Okay, when you take in our Indian almanac, we call it as Panchanga. Okay, even if you trace it back to 100 years, 1,000 years, you will come to know it holds true when you trace it back. Kalpa again rituals. Now you have different rituals. Okay, when the baby is born, you do certain rituals. Okay, then when there is a Ganpati Puja, the ritual is done in that way only, right? So like that. So Kalpa, these are all different angas of Vedas. That's why they are called Vedangas. Now also, this Vedas are divided into uh, uh, divisions called as Upaveda. Upaveda. Now, for example, uh, Ayurveda. Okay, it is a Upaveda. It deals with the medicine, and it is a Upaveda of Atharva Veda. Okay, and Dhanurveda. Dhanurveda. It's a military science. Okay, like how to fight war and how to do the strategy and what weapons to use or the artillery. All this is given in Dhanurveda. So that is an Upaveda of Yajurveda. Okay. Now, Gandharva Veda. Okay, Gandharva Veda is music. Okay, it deals with the music. And Samaveda, it comes under Samaveda. Okay. And Shilpa Veda. Shilpa Veda is uh, art and architecture. It's regarding how a building should be built, yeah, how a temple should be built, all that correct measurements, dimensions, they are all given in this Shilpa Veda. Okay, and that Shilpa Veda is a part, it's the Upaveda of Rig Veda. Okay, now these are finally coming to this Shada Darshanas. These are the 6 darshanas. Okay, Nyaya was written by Gautama Rishi. Okay, now now every school of philosophy, मतलब हर एक school में क्या see the philosophy starts with the question, with the line that this life is full of pain and misery. That is the starting point of any philosophy. Now you can say, how come our Indian philosophy is so pessimistic? ये pessimistic नहीं है. Okay, it is a fact. You can see around yourself. Even right now, you can see around yourself. Okay, you can see disease, you can see poverty. Okay, ये फैक्ट है, हर एक कंट्री में है. कोई कंट्री में कम है और कोई कंट्री में ज्यादा है. But this is a fact. So the first line is the life is full of pain and misery. Now the next question we should be asking, okay, is there a way to come out of it? Okay, the answer to it is yes. Okay. Then the next question you should be asking, पूछना चाहिए कि how to come out of this. Okay, to come out of this, you need something called as right knowledge. And why are we suffering? It is basically because of avidya. Okay, that everybody are suffering. And how to come out of that avidya is through right knowledge. Now that right knowledge is called as pramanas. The right knowledge is called as pramanas. So different schools have different pramanas. For example, Nyaya. Nyaya is a school of logic. Okay, it was written by Gautama Rishi and they have these pramanas. These are the sources of right knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana and Shabda. Okay. Now, for example, Vaisheshika. Now, this Vaisheshika takes its theory from Nyaya. Okay. It takes its theory from Nyaya and it is written by Kanad Rishi. Okay, Kanad Rishi, and it has only 2 pramanas, that is Pratyaksha and Anumana. Now, what are these pramanas? We will discuss later. You can just go through this. Okay, now these 2 are Nyaya. The Vaisheshika takes its theory from Nyaya. Okay. Now, does this? Now, one is the source of right knowledge. Correct? Every school, चाहे वो न्याय, वैशेषिका, सांख्य कुछ भी होने दो, ये source of knowledge तो रहेगा. And the third thing we should be asking, does this school believe in God? Okay. Now, please don't confuse this with the Astika. Astika means believes in the authority of Vedas, right? and this already believes. Vedas में ये belief करता है. Okay. So does it believe in God? Okay, न्याय. Okay. आस्तिक अलग होता है और ईश्वर अलग. These two are two different things. Okay. So न्याय believes in God. Okay. How does it believe in God? Here, the job of the God is to the infinite number of atoms are already there in the universe. So what this God will do? God will just give an initial push. Okay. And the God will set the evolution into motion. Okay. And what is his job? His job is to punish the one who does bad deeds, to punish them, and the one who does good deeds, he will reward them. Okay. And those good people will go into heaven and the bad people will go into, okay. And again the evolution will start. After their duration is over, the evolution will start again. Now, Sankhya and Yoga. Now, these two are pairs. Okay. Now, Sankhya is a theory. Okay. It is a philosophy which was written by Kapila Muni. Okay. And according to him, again, because of avidya, we are suffering, and there are three pramanas, source of knowledge: Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. Now, does Sankhya believe in Ishwar? Okay, mind you, Sankhya is Astika. Okay, it is Astika, but Sankhya does not believe in Ishwar as a creator. Sankhya says we do not need God as a creator, because the creation is already existing. Okay, creation already है, वो सिर्फ एक फॉर्म से दूसरे फॉर्म में जाता है, इसलिए यहाँ पे गॉड की जरूरत नहीं है. There is no need of Ishwar. So that is why it is called Nir-Ishwar. Sankhya is Nir-Ishwar, without Ishwar. Now yoga. Now all of us know this, written by Maharishi Patanjali, and this yoga takes all the knowledge, theoretical knowledge from Sankhya, and he puts in a systematic manner to be followed. Okay, to be followed and to remove the avidya. Okay, the practice which has to be done has been given in Yoga Sutras by Maharishi Patanjali. And he also believes in three sources of knowledge, that is Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda, same like Sankhya. Okay. Now, does yoga believe in Ishwar? Yes, it does believe in Ishwar. Okay. And now what is the job of Ishwar here? Okay. The Ishwar here is called as Purusha Vishesha Ishwara. Okay. And he is called Om. He is denoted by the symbol Om. Okay. Now this Ishwar will help you to come out of all your vrittis. Okay. Here we are not talking about Ishwar as the creator or the God. Okay. Here Ishwar is there. Yoga believes in God. Yoga believes in Ishwar. But only the thing is that Purusha Vishesha Ishwara, who is a teacher of all the teachers, guru of all the gurus, okay, and he will help us to come out of all the vrittis by meditating on him. Okay, those who meditate on him can come out of all the vrittis, and he has given other methods also. Now, this Purva Mimamsa was written by sage Jaimini, and he has all these. Yes, and here yoga. Is there a way to come out of it? Yes, there is a way, and that way is called Kaivalya. Okay, liberation. Is there liberation? Yes, there is liberation, and it is called Kaivalya. Okay, so different schools use different terminologies. Okay, now Uttara Mimamsa was written by sage Badrayana, and he uses again Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. These three sources of knowledge. And here in Uttar Mimamsa, again they use these different methods to remove avidya. And here the liberation is called as Mukti. Okay, here the liberation is called as Mukti. And yes, they also believe in God. Okay, here also God is there, and the God job is to reward those who are doing good deeds and punish those who are doing bad deeds and send them to hell, and again send the good people to heaven. And after their duration is over, and they will again come back to earth. Okay, so that is their concept, which Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Okay, yes. Now let's come to our actual Sankhya Darshan. Okay, now here in Sankhya Darshan,
सरस्वती मैम, कैन आई हैव वन डाउट?
tell me.
आपने जो प्रमाण बताए डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्रत्यक्ष शब्द, तो उस प्रमाण को थोड़ा समझाएंगे इन वन लाइन?
Yes, I am going to.
Okay, fine.
So I'm using Sankhya as a model.
Understood.
Okay? And I'm explaining all the pramanas.
Yeah, fine.
Right knowledge. Okay.
Okay. Thank
and the same pramanas will be there in Yoga Sutras also.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how you can apply it practically in our life. So for that, I have to tell you about Sankhya. Then we can know how to practically apply it in our life. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now epistemology. Okay. Now this. Now any darshana you study. Okay. At this level, at least, any darshana, any philosophy you study, any concept you are studying, the first question to come in your mind is, ये कौन से शास्त्र में दिया है, कहाँ पे दिया है? Okay, when people confront us, no, we should know how to tell, how to support our culture, how to support our philosophy, how to support our theory. So for that you need knowledge. So the first and the foremost बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट ये है कि ये सांख्य कहाँ कहाँ पे आया है. ओके, एज आई सेड सांख्य ये है क्या, इट इज आस्तिका. ओके, इट इज आस्तिका. इट हैज टेकन ऑल द नॉलेज फ्रॉम वेदास ओनली, वेदास एंड उपनिषद्स, राइट? सो सांख्य वर्ड हैज टू कम इन वन ऑफ दोस, राइट? सो सांख्य can be found in Prashna Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, and also in Bhagavad Gita. Now I can tell about Bhagavad Gita because you can easily relate. Okay, Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter, the name of the second chapter itself is Sankhya, Sankhya Yoga. Okay, we all know the Bhagavad Gita is divided into different 18 yogas. So in that you have Sankhya, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Sannyasa Yoga, like that. You have different yoga, 18 kinds of yoga in the 18 chapters, out of which the Sankhya is coming in the second chapter. दूसरे chapter में आता है, उसका नाम है Sankhya. So, like that, this Sankhya word has appeared in many shastras, in many scriptures. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of Sankhya? Meaning of Sankhya is, see, Sankhya means right knowledge. As I said, Harek isme, to come out of it, to come out of avidya, you need some source of knowledge. Correct? Now here, Sankhya itself means right knowledge. Okay. Now what is the meaning of right knowledge? The right knowledge is, this Sankhya has got two realities, ultimate realities, Purusha and Prakriti. Okay. Now, when these two are separate, then that is called right knowledge. Due to some unknown reasons, the Prakriti comes in contact with Purush, then the avidya starts. That is wrong knowledge. Okay. Now, we will see the further slides. Now, why you call it as a right knowledge, we will see. Okay. Now, Sankhya and Sankhya. Sankhya also means number. Okay. Now, this Sankhya, it deals with 25 categories, out of which 2 are Purusha and Prakriti. Other than these 2 realities, you have 23 more realities. Other than these 2, you have 23 realities. Okay, so it deals with numbers of different categories, 25 categories. That number 25 is there, so you can call it as. Now, what kind of a philosophy this is? Okay, it is pluralistic spiritualism. Okay, it is spiritual, no doubt, because it has been taken from the Vedas. It is spiritual. Now, why pluralistic? Pluralistic means you have infinite number of Purushas and infinite number of Prakriti already existing. Okay, so pluralistic spiritualism. Okay. Now, atheistic realism. Now, what do you mean by atheistic realism? Atheistic means, I already told in the previous slide, it does not believe in Ishwar. Correct? It does not believe in Ishwar as a creator. It says that we don't need the Ishwar as a creator for this particular school. Okay. So that is why it is called atheistic realism. Okay. And uncompromising dualism. Uncompromising dualism means what? Again, I told of two realities. One is Purusha and Prakriti. And what is the right knowledge? Separation, dual, with two different realities. So that separation is the right knowledge. Okay, that is why it is called as uncompromising dualism. Okay, because there are two realities in that. Okay. Now Tanishka ji was asking, no? Now we'll come to the Pramanas. Okay. Any school of philosophy, if you want to come out of avidya, if you want to come out of sufferings, you need Pramanas. That is, you need the source of knowledge. Okay. Now, according to Sankhya, there are three sources of right knowledge. Pramana is the right knowledge. Sources of right knowledge. Okay. Now, what are these three sources? Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. Okay. Now, what is this Pratyaksha? Okay. Now, the example which I can give you, Pratyaksha, direct sense of perception, means suppose this mobile is there in front of me. Okay. I'm seeing this with my eyes. Okay. So, this Gyanendriya passes on the information to the mind. Okay. The Gyanendriya passes on the information, okay, to the mind. Oh, that's a mobile phone. Okay. Now, what does the mind do? Mind on itself, on its own, it cannot do anything. Only through the Gyanendriyas, through the sense organs, the mind is only perceiving. And what it does, it will pass on the data. It is like a computer. Think of a computer. Okay, it will pass on this particular data that this is a mobile phone. Okay, to whom it will pass? It will pass on to the buddhi, the intellect. Okay, then the intellect says, oh, that's a mobile phone. Okay, now it will pass on the information to the ahankar, the ego. Okay, that mind has passed on the information. It is processed and passed on that it is a mobile phone. Then what does the ego says? It takes because the buddhi has to take a decision, no, to pick it up or not. That's why it passes on the information to the ego. Then the ego identifies, okay, oh, this mobile phone is mine. Then immediately it passes on the information to the buddhi, and the buddhi passes on to the mind. Come on, pick it up. Okay, the mind without karmendriya, jnanendriya, it cannot function. Correct? So the mind says to the hand, come on, go and pick it up. Okay, so this is a whole process. Even if there's one small object, very scientifically, one after the other, ये processing होता है, and finally the ahankar claims it. Okay, that this is a, so pratyaksha, we get a knowledge of whatever objects are there in front of you. You get knowledge of the objects. Maybe 90%, may not be 90%. Sometimes you may not get full 100% knowledge about the object. Okay. So this is how pratyaksha is. To the extent that the ego can claim, this phone is mine, come on, go and pick it up. That much okay. But I do not have the complete knowledge of this mobile phone. Okay. This is the pratyaksha. Now the second one is anumana. Anumana is logical inference. Now what can you do this logical inference? Now for example, we are sitting here and from far you can see smoke coming out. Okay. Then what can you infer? Simple logical inferences. Oh, there must be fire over there. Okay. Because we have observed this everywhere. Okay. When Havan is going on, we are waiting outside and we can see a lot of smoke coming out of this. And then, oh, see, Havan is going on. We can see the smoke. We can get that smell also. Okay. So we infer that there is a, so what is the total logical inference? Total logical inference ye hai ki wherever there is smoke, wherever there is fire, there is smoke. So you can infer that there is a smoke, fire over there. Okay. Now Shabda. Shabda is verbal testimony. Now ये verbal testimony क्या है? This verbal testimony is now हम लोग अभी कुछ विश्वास कर रहे हैं ना, अभी सांख्य में लिखा है कैवल्य है, तो we are believing it, right? Now these people who have actually experienced it, they have written it down and given it to us, and that we have been following from जनरेशन टू जनरेशन, परंपरा परंपरा से हम ये फॉलो करते आए हैं. वी बिलीव, हमें विश्वास है कि ये सही है, बिकॉज दे हैव टेकन वेदास एज द अथॉरिटी. वेदा इज द यूनिवर्सल ट्रूथ, राइट? सो शब्द, सो ऑलवेज व्हेनेवर वी स्पीक एनीथिंग, वी शुड यूज शास्त्र एज द आधार, शास्त्र एज द सपोर्ट, एंड देन वी शुड स्पीक. Then only people will believe. Okay, so Shabda is a verbal testimony.
Shabda means agam.
See, the difference between agama and Shabda is, see, there are different agamas. See, Shaivas, Vaishnavas, Shaktipeeth, you know, different agamas are there. Now, for example, I am taking an example of Shiva because Kailash is most closest to the earth. Okay, so Kailash, I am taking an example. It is the abode of Lord Shiva, correct? तो वहां पे क्या क्या ट्रेडिशंस होते हैं वो कहीं लिखा हुआ नहीं है. शिवा ने पहले, लॉर्ड शिवा ने स्टार्ट किया, फिर उनके नीचे जो थे उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया, फिर उनके नीचे लोग हैं उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया, ऐसे कंटिन्यू करते 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 हमारे पास आया है. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, वी डोंट क्वेश्चन. ओके, क्योंकि ये परंपरा परंपरा से चली आ रही. अच्छा, इसमें क्या, शब्द में क्या है, those sages, those munis, they have taken the knowledge from the Vedas, from the Upanishad, and have actually experienced the self-realization, actually experienced the Kaivalya. That person has given us this, and people have been following. सब लोग फॉलो करते आए हैं. मुझे भी विश्वास है. अच्छा, ये वेदास से वर्बल टेस्टिमनी वेदास से निकाला गया है, इसीलिए ये सच है. सो आई बिलीव. Okay?
Okay,
I
okay.
believe in this Shabda. Okay? Yes. Now, before, मैं आपको दो रियलिटीज के बारे में बात कर रही थी. Okay? Two independent realities. Independent मतलब वो अलग अलग है. पुरुष अलग है और प्रकृति अलग है. ये दोनों अलग अलग है. Okay? Now, पुरुष, उसको क्या बोलते हैं, यू कैन कॉल पुरुष एज द सोल. ओके, आत्मा वर्ड यूज नहीं कर सकते हैं क्योंकि ये अलग फिलोसफी है. इसलिए हम लोग आत्मा वर्ड यूज नहीं करेंगे. पुरुष इज पुरुष, इट इज द सोल, इट इज द स्पिरिट. वो एक सब्जेक्ट है, मेडिटेशन का एक सब्जेक्ट हो सकता है. ओके, एंड इट इज द नोअर, वो सब जानता है, पुरुष. एंड इट इज द साइलेंट विटनेस. वाइल साइलेंट विटनेस मतलब वो साक्षी है, वो जो भी होता है, whatever happens around you, ये उसका साक्षी है. It is a साक्षी. That is why it is silent witness. And it is conscious. Okay? जैसे आत्मा है, वो आत्मा कॉन्शियस है ना, वैसे भी ये फिलॉसफी में पुरुष है, और वो पुरुष कॉन्शियस है. और वो क्या है? वो दृष्टा है. दृष्टा मतलब सीयर. सीयर, वो साइलेंट विटनेस है और वो देखता है. ऐसा करता है करके लिखा है क्या? नो. इट इज नॉट रिटन एज कर्ता, इट इज दृष्टा, इट इज द सीयर, इट ओनली सीज. It won't do anything, but it will see. Now, Prakriti. Now, Prakriti is another independent reality of Sankhya. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of Prakriti? Okay. हम simple भाषा में उसको nature ऐसे बोलते हैं. जैसे हिंदी में प्रकृति आया तो हम nature बोलते हैं. ठीक है. But in this, the Sanskrit Prakriti is a independent reality, and it is called Moola Pradhana. Why it is called Moola Pradhana? Because from this Prakriti only, the full world starts evolving. From this Prakriti, the full world starts evolving. Okay? It is the cause of everything in this universe. It is the cause of everything. So it is called Mool. It is an uncaused cost. Okay? Uncaused cost मतलब वो खुद किसी और का कॉस्ट नहीं हो सकता है, but it itself is a cause for everything which is evolving in this universe. Okay. Avyakta. Now what is this avyakta? Avyakta means हम जान सकते हैं पर हम उसे देख नहीं सकते. Okay. अगर देख नहीं सकते हैं तो फिर हमको पता कैसे चलेगा कि ये प्रकृति है? ओके, यू विल कम टू नो बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स इवोल्यूट्स. इसके नीचे जो इवोल्यूट, प्रकृति से जो नीचे जो इवोल्यूट्स निकलते हैं, प्रकृति के बाद निकलता है बुद्धि, बुद्धि के बाद अहंकार. ओके, नाउ ये होने के वजह से ये इवोल्यूट्स आंखों को दिखता है. ओके, नाउ बिकॉज ऑफ दिस दे यू कैन से यस, Prakriti is existing. Prakriti hai. Okay. Now, Anumana. Anumana means I can infer the Prakriti is there. I can logically infer if Prakriti is there. Again, you can say, you can see the evolutes, but still, how can you say that the Prakriti hai करके हम कैसे बोलेंगे? हम इसीलिए बोल सकते हैं कि you can see the effects of Prakriti. Now, what are these effects? These effects of Prakriti, this Prakriti is made up of 3 gunas: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. It is made up of these 3 gunas. और ये गुनास के अलग-अलग क्वालिटीज होते हैं, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स होते हैं. जैसे कि सत्व में हम देख सकते हैं, it is full of peace, calm, harmony. तो हम बोल सकते हैं ये सत्व है. देन सत्व है तो प्रकृति को होना ही चाहिए, है ना. सेम में रजस. रजस इज फुल ऑफ एक्टिविटी, सो फुल ऑफ पैशन. नाउ इवन a simple activity like breathing, that is also an action. Any small action you want to do, the rajas has to be there. Okay, and rajas again is a part of Prakriti. Then you can say yes, Prakriti is there. Likewise with tamas also. Okay. Now, Jada. Acha. Now, what is this Jada? Now, this is conscious. Okay, Purusha is conscious. Okay. पर ये क्या है? ये Jada है. Jada means unconscious. Okay. अच्छा, ऐसे बोल सकते हैं अगर ये अनकॉन्शियस है. ओके, नाउ पुरुषा एंड प्रकृति इज देयर. Okay, the moment Prakriti came in contact with Purush, then the evolution started. Okay, how did the evolution start? वो मैं बाद में बताऊंगी क्योंकि प्रकृति is made up of the three gunas. That's why it started. Okay, now ये प्रकृति का evolutes है मन, बुद्धि, अहंकार. Okay, then from ahankar came out everything. Okay, from the ahankar. Now you can say, if what is the job of the buddhi? I told you before, no? The job of the buddhi is to take decisions. कि मुझे action लेना है या नहीं लेना है. That is the job of the buddhi. Now again you can ask, now if this prakriti is jada, अगर ये प्रकृति जड़ा है, okay, फिर ये decision कैसे ले सकता है? जड़ा है तो वो unconscious है ना? फिर unconscious है तो ये कैसे ले सकता है? उसके पीछे ये कारण है, due to, as I said in the beginning, due to some unknown reason, Prakriti has come in contact with Purush. Now, due to this close proximity, the light of the Purusha, it is full of light, the spirit. It is knower, it is full of light, light of knowledge, correct? That light falls on to this buddhi of a Prakriti. And then the buddhi thinks that, yes, I am intelligent, I can think, I am taking the knowledge. But this buddhi on its own, it is not taking any decision. It is taking the decision on virtue of the light falling of the Purusha's light on the buddhi. And where does the avidya comes into the picture then? Avidya comes when this Purusha sees its own reflection. खुद का reflection ये बुद्धि के अंदर देखता है. फिर ये कांटेक्ट की वजह से वो पुरुषा के मन में पुरुषा thinks that I am doing. Actually, the Purusha is a drashta, right? It is a drashta. It is not a karta. Okay, but Purusha is thinking that yes, I am doing this. Whereas in reality, Purusha never does anything. It is only a witness. Okay. If it is getting heavy, you can please let me know. Now, what I said, how did the evolution start? If the Prakriti is Jada, if it is unconscious, how did the evolution start? Correct. Now, evolution started because when these three gunas are there, they are always in the state of tension. Okay. When they are in a state of tension, the Rajas vibrates more. When the Prakriti comes in contact with Purush, the Rajas starts vibrating more and more. And that activity of Rajas, although you cannot see with your eyes, the activity of Rajas makes the Prakriti to evolve. Okay, Prakriti itself is Jada. Okay, makes the Prakriti to evolve. Okay. Now, as I said, it is made up of three gunas. Now you can remember like this. The Prakriti is like a rope. Okay. Now 3 strings है. वो 3 strings से हम चोटी जैसा बनाते हैं, फिर उसका rope बनता है. Right? So that is Prakriti, that rope, but in that you can see only 2. जैसे हम चोटी बनाते हैं, वो सिर्फ 2 ही दिखता है, वो तीसरा वाला दिखता नहीं है. So the तीसरा वाला is only this Rajas, which always makes the Prakriti vibrate and then gives rise to evolution. Okay. So what is the characteristics of Sattva? So Sattva is balance, harmony and knowledge. Okay. These qualities you can always see in yogis. Correct? They'll be sitting quiet. Okay. But they're full of knowledge. The way of responding, the way of speaking, the way of their behavior, it is entirely different. Although they are in the world, they are a part of the world. But they choose to respond and not react. So they don't get affected. Okay. Rajas. Now this rajas is full of activity, excitation and pain. Okay. The moment you have a desire, then you have to do some activity and you have to be excited about it. Then to get that activity done, you have to go through a lot of pain. Okay. So that's what the Prakriti has said. Due to some reason, it comes in contact with Purusha and immediately the activity starts. Okay. Tamas. Tamas is inertia, obstruction, sloth. Okay. Inertia means no movement at all, just lying down in one place. Absolutely no movement. Okay. Laziness, sloth. Okay. So these are the characteristics of tamas. Now, these are found to be intermingled with each other. You compare it to that rope with the वो 3 strings से जो rope बनता है, उसके बारे में सोचिए. Okay. Now, they can also be compared with the oil, the wick, the lamp, and the flame of the lamp. Now, in order to light a lamp, you will need all these things. Correct? The diya is there, but you need a oil and you need that vat, okay, and you need a matchstick. If all three are there together, then only you can light a flame of the lamp, right? So this Prakriti is like that. All three gunas are required. Now you cannot say if this sattva is good and tamas is not good, it's lazy. I don't want tamas. ऐसा हम बोल नहीं सकते because we are a part of Prakriti, correct? And the Prakriti is made of 3 gunas. Now just imagine at the end of the day when you're tired, when you're very tired, and at the end of the day you want to sleep. Just imagine which guna you need. Which guna you need?
Tamas.
Yes, you need tamas at that time. So it's not that ये अच्छा नहीं है, नहीं चाहिए. We cannot say that. All 3 gunas are required. And likewise, now we are doing these activities. We're giving lectures, you are listening, and you have to prepare the PPTs. Everything is required. No? In order to give a lecture, you have to prepare the PPTs. Again, that's an activity. Right? So you cannot say. So during the day, you need rajas should be active. Okay. And how will you do the rajas? With the sattva mind. Like a yogi, you can do. But you cannot, what do you call, separate them. Okay. Because Prakriti is made of that and we have to go that way only. Okay. Now, every school has got certain theory of causation. Theory of causation मतलब वो कैसे आया, ये universe कैसे start हुआ. Okay. See, infinite Purusha are already there in the universe. But how did the universe begin? Evolution begin. है ना? उसको evolution कैसे होता है उसको हम बोलते हैं theory of causation कि वो universe कैसे आया. Okay, this is absolutely very scientific theory. It is called Prakriti Parinamvad. Okay, now here in theory of causation, this is called Satkaryavad. Okay, Satkaryavad. So in this Satkaryavad, there are 2 types. One is this Prakriti Parinam and the other one is Vivartavad. Now we don't need Vivartavad now. It comes for in the Vedanta. So we'll leave it. Right now we need Prakriti Parinamvad. This is one of the type of Satkaryavad. Okay, it's one of the type of Satkaryavad. Now what does it say? Now what does this theory say? It says that effect pre-exists in the cause. Okay. Now, for example, you take clay, मिट्टी लीजिए और मिट्टी का हम pot बनाएंगे, ठीक है? Pot बनाएंगे. Now, what this theory is saying कि वो pot already वो मिट्टी के अंदर potential form में था, इसलिए हमने उसको shape दिया, pot का shape दिया. That is the meaning of saying the effect pre-exists in the cause. Effect pre-exists in the cause. Okay, that is the meaning. Now, then what does it say? Okay, it says that cause and effect are seen as different temporal aspect of the same thing. Okay, मिट्टी क्या था? Cause. और pot क्या था? Effect. So what it says, these two are different aspects of the same thing. चीज एक ही है पर उसका ये अलग अलग एस्पेक्ट है. अच्छा, अभी ये क्ले पॉट को मैं तोड़ूंगी, डिस्ट्रॉय कर दूंगी, तो उसका क्या होगा? What will happen if I destroy the pot? Can anybody tell me? If I destroy the pot, what will happen?
परत माती.
हाँ जी. If I destroy the pot, I will get back the clay, right?
Clay, yeah.
So with the same clay, I can make something else. Okay, that is what it is saying. That is why it is saying the effect lies latent in the cause, which in turn seeds the next effect, which means the effect. Effect क्या है? Pot. Pot lies latent. मिट्टी के अंदर already मौजूद था, उसका हमने pot बनाया. Okay. Now this pot will in turn seed the next effect. इस pot को मैं destroy करूंगी, फिर मिट्टी हो जाएगा, उसी मिट्टी का मैं कुछ और बनाऊंगी. So which in turn seeds the next effect. Okay. I understand that this subject is a little bit dry. If you want me to stop, I can stop between and you can discuss also. Okay. Can I go ahead? Can I go ahead?
Yes, yes, no problem.
If people are there,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have understood what is the theory of causation. मतलब ये universe कैसे evolve हुआ वो पता चल गया. Okay. Now we will see ये evolution से क्या क्या निकला. What are the evolutes? What are the things? Because of this trigunas inside Prakriti, what are all the things which came out? The first thing which came out is this Mahad Buddhi. Okay, Mahad Buddhi. This is the universal Buddhi. Okay. What I said, this universal Buddhi takes the decision. Its job is decision making. Then out of this Mahad Buddhi came Ahankar. Ahankar is ego. This is also that universal ego. Now from that ego, क्या क्या निकला है? It came. There are three types of Ahankar in this Ahankar. There are three types again because Prakriti is made up of three gunas. Okay. So this Ahankar is also made up of these three gunas. That is Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. These are the three types of Ahankar. Okay. Now, out of the Sattvic Ahankar came out the 5 sensory organs, all these 5 Jnanendriyas. Okay, all these 5 Jnanendriyas. Okay, and it came out 5 Karmendriyas. Means Karmendriyas, organs of locomotions, organs of action. Okay. Now, how did it set in motion? Okay, out of these two, and the other one is Tamasic Ahankar. Okay, now out of Tamasic Ahankar came the Pancha Mahabhutas. Okay, Pancha Mahabhutas. Now all of you all know what is Pancha Mahabhutas, right? Right? Agni.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, I need not go into detail. Agni, Vayu, Akash, Prithvi and Jal. Okay, 5 Pancha Mahabhutas. And where did these 5 Pancha Mahabhutas come from? That is 5 Tanmatras. Now, what are these tanmatras? They are subtle essences out of which these Panchamahabhutas came. Now, what are these subtle essences that we will see in the next slide? Now, then, what is the job of the Rajasic Ahankar? The Rajasic Ahankar, the job is to give energy to this Sattvic and the Tamasic and to produce its respective evolutes. Okay, उसका evolution करने के लिए ये Rajasic है. Then the next, out of it came out the Manas. Okay, Manas or the mind. Now, what is the job of this Manas? Okay, the job of this Manas is to synthesize the sense data into perception. In that Pratyaksha, I gave you that example, right? जो भी आंखों के सामने जो भी डेटा है उसको synthesize करके it sends it to the Manas. Okay, and then the Manas will take the orders from up, ऊपर से order लेके, then from the ego, after it claims the ownership, then it will execute. ये Manas का काम है to execute the orders through the motor organs. Okay, through the motor organs, it will execute that action. Okay. Now this Buddhi, Manas, Ahankar, they are together, these three things are together called Antakaran. Okay, these three things together are called Antakaran. Okay, now I was talking about Tanmatras, right? I was talking about Tanmatras. These Tanmatras are the subtle essences, the power to perceive, right? Only sense organs cannot do. Only organs of action. They also cannot do anything on their own. And only the mind cannot do anything on its own. Okay? The mind also needs the power to perceive that object. Right? Now, this was given. Again, I said, Sankhya mein jo bhi hai, it believes in Vedas and Upanishads. So, this particular concept, it is taken from Taittiriya Upanishad. Okay? So, first came Tanmatras. First came the sound. Okay? Sound. And then came the touch. And then came the vision. Then rasa and then gandha. It has come in this order. It is given in Taittiriya Upanishad and Sankhya it is mentioned. Okay. So first came the Shabda, then came Sparsha, okay, then came Rupa, form, and then came Rasa, and then came the Gandha. Okay, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha. Okay, now, if you sound, okay, so which Mahabhuta sound travels through which Mahabhuta? That is Akash. Akash means space. Okay. Sound can travel through space, right? So इसीलिए इसका ये तन्मात्रा के लिए सबसे पहले आया आकाश. Okay. Now, okay. Then came what? Then came Vayu. Then came the air. Okay. Air, you cannot see it, but you can feel it, right? By touch. By touch, you can feel it. So, Vayu, that is air. Air, you can touch, right? So, the organ will be skin. Okay, skin. And here, the power to perceive will be ear. How can you listen here to the sound? Through the ear. So, for this Mahabhuta, the ear is the sense organ. And for this Mahabhuta, that is air, Vayu, touch, skin. Skin is the sense organ. Now, then came the Rupa. Rupa means form. You can see the form with your eyes. Correct? So, the first thing which came is, with Rupa, came is Agni. Okay? Agni, that is fire. And something has a form, you need eyes to see it. Okay, so first came the Mahabhuta, then came that power to perceive. Okay, power to perceive, the Rupa form it came, and then to see it came the eyes. Okay, sense organ for Rupa is eyes. Now, then after Rupa came the Rasa. Rasa means taste. Okay, so first thing in this universe which came, which you can associate with taste, is Jala, water. Okay, and to taste something, you obviously need a tongue. So for this rasa, this rasa is tanmatra. For the rasa tanmatra came Jala. Okay, and to perceive this, you need some power to perceive, and that organ is tongue. Okay, you can taste, right? So this is the sense organ for rasa. Okay, gandha. Gandha is smell. Okay, now after getting this power of perception, along with it, okay, then came the earth, that is Prithvi. Okay, Prithvi you can associate it with Mitti, right? Mitti ka you can take the smell. So you remember like that. So for smell you need nose. So along with this Gandha, okay, came the Prithvi, and its particular organ is this nose. Okay. Now Manas. Manas is the, here in this case you can say the Manas is the organ of, it is an organ. Okay. How can you, it is this organ of action. These are all sense organs. Correct? For these particular essences, these are sense organs. But these are organs of action. Correct? So for this, the organ of action is mouth. Okay? That is throat. Okay. Now for this, for touching, right? You normally touch with the hand. So organ of action is hand. And for this, organ of action is feet. Okay? And for this rasa, organ of action is genitals. Okay, that is the organ of action. Now, smell, Prithvi. See, this is for this organ of action is rectum. You can say we throw out our this thing through the this thing, no? We throw out this thing out of our body, no? So that you can remember as organ of action for this. Okay, these are this table. If you remember, okay, in the beginning you may take a little trouble in remembering. Then once you go through twice, thrice, it will become by heart for you. Okay, then you will know. Now, what is this theory of evolution? First, I talked about theory of causation. Okay, then only you will understand the theory of evolution. Correct? Now, as per Sankhya, nothing can be created or destroyed into nothingness. Okay, that means the clay was there, so I made a pot. Okay, suppose if the clay did not exist, would I have made a pot out of it? क्या मैं pot बना सकती हूँ? अगर clay है ही नहीं और उसका मैं pot बना सकती हूँ क्या? नहीं. No. It's not possible. Very scientific. The Sankhya theory. I'm a fan of this Sankhya theory. You know, it's absolutely scientific. So nothing can be created or destroyed into nothingness. Now, all evolution is transformation of one form into another. Okay. Science also says the same thing. The sum total of all the energy in this world is constant. It only changes its form from the potential to kinetic, sometimes to thermal. Okay, it only keeps changing its form. Okay, so it is only a transformation from one form to another form. That is all about evolution. Then when does evolution occur? If it is a transformation from one form to another, when does it occur, the evolution? The evolution occurs when the trigunas are constantly changing their predominance. See, I told you, no, the trigunas is like a rope. Rope के जैसा है और वो प्रकृति से के अंदर ही है. Okay, so what happens? Sometimes sattva will be predominant. Sometimes rajas will be predominant. Sometimes tamas will be predominant. Okay, so they keep changing. These three gunas, the predominances keep changing every time. Okay. So when the predominance keep changing every time, that is why the evolution occurs. And the rajas is there in between. Okay, then it will come to know. As I said, due to some unknown reason, Prakriti came in contact with Purush, right? So Rajas has got the knowledge of, it's activity time. Okay, activity. So the evolution starts immediately. Okay. So evolution occurs when the trigunas are constantly changing. They are never in balance. Okay. Now what will happen? Have you ever thought when the trigunas are in balance, that time what will happen? Then the evolution stops. Okay. Say by repeated practice of the Sankhya and Yoga, by repeatedly we have followed each and everything. I don't know whether it's possible for me in this work. I'm just saying. Okay. Then what happens? The trigunas will be in balance and then the evolution stops for that particular Prakriti. For that particular Prakriti, the evolution stops. Okay. I also told that there is an infinite number of Purushas. Correct? So for that particular Purusha. Then what is the cause of this bondage? Okay. The avidya is the cause of bondage and suffering. Okay. So every school says the same thing. Avidya. Now in this case, what is avidya? What is that wrong knowledge? I said no. The Prakriti came with in contact with the Purusha. Okay. When it came in, then it became a wrong knowledge. Then avidya started and then now after avidya is removed, is there any purpose for the Prakriti to stay there? The moment Prakriti realizes, now for me, there is no purpose. I was here to serve the Purusha, to fulfill all his desires. That is the Prakriti is thinking like that. I'm here to fulfill all the desires of the Purusha. Now for me, there is no work here. Then the Prakriti slowly separates. When the Prakriti separates, the Purusha stands alone. Okay, the Prakriti is gone. Only the Purusha stands alone, and that is the right knowledge, and that is called Kaivalya. Okay, so this was all about. I can just show you this one more diagram chart. I mean, okay. Now this is the Purusha. Okay, you can see how the 25 tattvas came. Okay, this is the Purusha. Now this Prakriti is made up of 3 gunas. You can see. Okay, these 3 gunas. And this is called Moola Prakriti. Right? Now, when this Rajas becomes predominant, which I was saying, it will give rise to, see, this is Avyakta, Moola Prakriti. Avyakta means unmanifest. It is still in the unmanifest state. So it is called Avyaktam and it is also called Moola Prakriti. Now it is going to give rise to the evolutes. Why? Because the Rajas, see, these two have come in contact with each other. I would say the Prakriti came in contact with the Purush. Then this started vibrating. This is what I was telling you. Okay, then it gives rise to Buddhi. It is in the small germ. It is form of a linga. This gives rise to Prakriti. And it gives rise to Buddhi. And this Buddhi gives rise to Ahankar. See, small plant has come. Not plant. It's a small sapling has come. Now this ahankar is made up of again 3 types of ahankar. Then those 3 types of ahankar will give rise to this. Okay? All first it will give rise to tanmatras. Then after tanmatras, it will give rise to all these panchamahabhutas. Okay? Then it will give rise to the sense organs. So now we have got the power to perceive. Okay? Power to perceive आ गया है. उसके बाद में the tamasic ahankar will come into action, and after this is done, then it will give rise to all these. Okay? Organs of action and yes. Okay? Yes. Now, I'm done.